up for Nudo.
Serious.
All right, guys, the long wait is over. The STR podcast is back. I'm your host, or co-host, Tim Fournier, alongside Ian Mills.
Hey guys, how you doing? Just a reminder, follow our Instagram at start_the_rebuild and on Twitter, startrebuildpod. Today we are talking about our week 2 locks of the NFL season, beginning with Bengals versus Browns. The spread is Browns -6. Tim, I'll start with you. What are you liking here tonight?
I'm going with Joey B and the Bengals, +6. Browns looked absolutely terrible. I've been a Baker believer, but that faith is slowly dwindling as the Browns keep looking terrible and he's staring down receivers. It's time to maybe think like maybe it's organizational. Maybe Baker's just not as good as people thought. I know there's already a lot of Baker haters right now, but
including me.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Joe Burrow looked really good towards the end of the Chargers game. Chargers have a really, really good secondary and front four. Browns have a pretty good front four too, so I think Burrow might be able to have a little bit more success. And as he gets more comfortable, I think the 6 points, I think I'd be taking the Bengals. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm done with the Cleveland Browns. They're an awful organization. They'll never be good. That's kind of what I realized last year is when I kind of believed in them a little bit. They gave me a little ounce of hope, and then they're just off. And if you look at the last 4 games, when Andy Dalton and with Ryan Finley starting, the Bengals are 3-1 against the Browns. And their quarterbacks have thrown 8 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in those 4 games. Something tells me Joe Burrow, at least his upside, is way better than Andy Dalton, but I think he honestly right now might be better than Andy Dalton was in those games. I'm a big believer. I think they might win this. I might sprinkle money line, but I like +6 here a lot. And I just think I'm kind of done with them. I think I'm over with them. I think this year they might have to blow it up. I mean, Baker, I don't want to. I said I'm a Baker hater, but I kind of feel bad for the guy. I don't even know if it's his fault or not, but the whole team just kind of needs to blow it up.
Looked great his rookie year, and then Odell got there, and everything went to crap.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and they tried to improve their O-line today or this offseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go Bills, Dolphins, -5.5 on the Bills. The over/under is 41. Tim, I'll start with you real quick.
I'm a Bills supporter. I like the Bills. 5.5. I mean, this isn't something I don't think I would bet on. I'm not like super confident either way. I think the Bills are definitely a better team than the Dolphins. I'm not saying that in any way. I just think the spread scares me a little bit that I think this game will be low scoring. And I could definitely see this. We talked about it before. I could see it like Bills winning 17-14, but like are in control the whole game. So the 5.5 is what scares me a little bit. If you want to throw Bills money line in a parlay, then that's perfect. I'm definitely on board with that. But that's my only worry.
Yeah, I'm a Bills fan. It's hard for me to bet against them.
Not betting against them. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I can't bet against them. Bills -5. I do like Bills money line in a parlay. I think that's probably the best bet here. Something I also like, if you look back last year against, they played each other twice, obviously in the same division. These teams know each other obviously quite a bit. Offense ruled in the last 2 games. The over hit on both games last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm taking the over 41 here. It's a pretty low number. Last year it was hovering around the same number, about 39 to 42, I believe. In both games, won over 50 points. I like the over here. I think I'm most confident with the over, but again, I can't bet against the Bills. I'll go Bills -5.5 here. Josh Allen looked like a competent NFL quarterback last week, and hopefully that continues. Next, we have Giants Bears. This is a game neither of us are too confident on. I know that.
Kind of staying away from this one.
Yeah, trying to stay away from this one probably, but if gun to my head, I had to pick one. I would go Giants +5.5 here. I don't think Daniel Jones looked as bad as people are making him out to be. He had the tipped interception in the end zone. He shouldn't have thrown the ball, yeah, but, potentially there could have been something there. And then the TJ Watt interception, that's just a rookie, or not a rookie, rather a young quarterback just throwing the ball quick and just not working out for him.
What are the chances that Daniel Jones is just Jameis 2.0?
It's just
he looks really good, on one throw, and then the next play he's handing the ball off to TJ Watt.
You said he's the next who?
Jameis.
Oh yeah, I think it's very possible, honestly. But I hope Joe Judge actually is able to see that beforehand. Unlike Jameis. 1 second.
But Daniel Jones, it feels like you can make a cut up of 10 plays that would make him look like an elite NFL quarterback every game, and 10 plays that are why the heck is he even in the NFL? So I think he's very similar to Jameis in that, but he's also honestly really similar. I think he could also just be Eli Manning 2.0. Eli Manning had the same type of things where he would go on stretches of playing really well and then go on stretches of playing really, really bad. I think
with him it's a play-by-play basis.
Right. Kind of staying away from the Giants Bears in terms of betting in any way.
Another game we're not super confident on. Falcons, Cowboys. Cowboys -4. I'm not even betting the spread in this one. I'm going to take over 53. I know the Cowboys underhit last week. I honestly think, after last week, Mike McCarthy has to look at his team and understand, he's coming in with analytics, yet he ran the ball on first down almost every possession. And I like Zeke. I think Zeke is a great, great player. I think he's a great running back. But you're not going to win doing that. I mean, he scored 17 points against an okay defense. Should have scored more, obviously, with the OPI at the end of the game. But
the Cowboys have is ridiculous. The Falcons' defense looks absolutely horrible too. So there should just be absolute fireworks in this game.
Yeah, what was it? Matt Ryan threw for 450 yards in a double-digit score loss. I like the spread, and the Cowboys' defensive backs looked. I mean, they didn't look great last week. Obviously, Jared Goff is not the biggest gunslinger in the world, but they didn't look great. I'm taking over 53 in that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the spread scares me. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I could definitely see this being Cowboys are up 2 scores most of the fourth quarter, and then Matt Ryan scores a touchdown with under a minute left in garbage time, and then they only lose by 3. So that's why the back door of that 4 points kind of scares me. But I don't mind the over either. I think both teams are going to score a lot.
Yeah. And then Tim, I'll let you start with this one. Packers Lions. Packers -6 here. I'll let you start.
This one's kind of tough because I think a lot of people overreact to week 1, which I think is something you have to pay attention to. So just to recap what happened in week 1, the Packers absolutely dominated the Vikings offensively, but I think a lot of people view the Vikings as a lot better than they are, especially defensively because of their history with Mike Zimmer. But their secondary is so young. They have good safeties, but corners can't cover anyone right now because they're all young players that aren't going to need time to grow into their spots. So the defense looked absolutely horrible, and I know everyone's talking about the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour and how he's going to dominate now, and I could definitely see that happening, but I think people are overreacting a little bit to him beating up on a bad secondary. And then with the Lions, I think people are looking down on them, even though they were very much in control for most of that Bears game and should have won if DeAndre Swift could catch a football. That's why you draft Jonathan Taylor instead of DeAndre Swift, but I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, I don't know. So if I had to pick, I think I'm going Lions +6 just because I think people are overreacting a little bit, but I'm not going to be surprised if the Packers win by 10.
Yeah.
They're a much better team than the Lions, but I think the Lions don't get enough credit.
Yeah, I agree. I think, teams might be overreacting a little bit, although I don't think the Lions are that good. I think they played well against the Bears, who again I think are an okay team, maybe like a 7-9 type of team.
Mhm.
I'm going Packers -6 here. I think it honestly might come down to garbage time where like the Packers might be up a touchdown or like 10 points. I think it might be one of those games, a backdoor cover. But I like Aaron Rodgers. I know we were talking about the revenge tour. I kind of believe in it a little bit. Maybe not to an extent of he's going to have another MVP season, but a season where he can, last year they relied on the run game a lot, and I feel like necessarily they won't have to be doing that quite a bit this year, especially with the loss of Darius Slay for the Lions defensive backfield. So I like the Packers -6. I don't
It'll
love
be
it, but I
interesting
do like it.
if Okudah plays him versus Devontae Adams. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch.
That'll be a good test.
Yeah, for sure. Early test for him.
Yeah.
Next we have Jags, Titans -8.5. It's a big spread there, Tim. What are you thinking?
Yeah, we talked about this before. We're kind of in agreement that we think that's too many points. The whole offseason, everyone thinks the Jags are tanking, and who knows, maybe they are, but I don't think it's possible with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I know everyone likes to joke around about him and stuff, but I personally think he's a legit starting quarterback in the NFL, and he can play. So with him, Titans didn't even look great. They didn't look great last week at all. We talked about this before. Minshew did beat the Titans in Week 4 last year, and then when they got blown out by the Titans in Week, I think we said it was 12, Nick Foles was starting. So I think the Jags should be able to cover 8.5. I think we both agree that Minshew is just too good to get 8.5 points.
Yeah, I'm also riding with a Minshew at +8.5. I think the Titans looked rudiment. I think they looked okay. I think they underperformed a little bit in the Broncos game rather. I think Ryan Tannehill is an okay quarterback, but I think I like the Jags. I don't think the Jags will win this game, but I think 8.5 is huge. That's a very, very big spread.
Mm-hmm.
I again pretty much reiterate everything what Tim says. Gardner Minshew is better than people are giving credit for. He was 19 for 20 last week.
Yeah, he was lights out.
Yeah, he was insane last week. I think Derrick Henry, I know it's been said a million times, but Derrick Henry plays a lot better towards the back half of the season.
Yeah.
And
he does historically play really well against the Jaguars too.
That's true.
I think I talked about this kind of before in the offseason that I'm kind of calling for some Titans regression.
Yeah.
And I think losing Jack Conklin on the offensive line is going to hurt. So looking at some PFF stats, and the Broncos played nickel most of the game against the Titans, and they were not loading the box at all. And Henry ended up having a good statistical day because he just got fed the ball 30 times, but he didn't have a lot of success. And if they are running the ball well, it might chew up the clock more, and I think it'll be hard to beat the Jags by 8.5.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're both taking Jags +8.5 this week.
Yes, to reiterate that.
Choose our guy.
And then our next game, Niners, Jets. Niners -7. Tim, I'll start here. I love Niners -7 here. We talked about this beforehand, but I think most of what it is the Jets, honestly, might be the worst team in the NFL. I feel like we said that last year at the beginning of the season, maybe not week 1, but, week 2, at least the so with me, it's more or less the Niners go. I can't see them going 0-2, but I also think, after losing week 1, they're kind of out for vengeance. They're kind of out for blood. And the Jets couldn't stop the Bills' offense, which I guess we don't really know how good the Bills' offense is yet. But last year it was pretty lackluster. And Sam Darnold was one touchdown and a pretty lucky screen to Jamison Crowder. The Bills' defense and the 49ers' defense they're comparable defenses. So I would think that they would struggle pretty much just amount, if not more, with the Niners than they did with the Bills. So here I'm riding Niners -7.
Yeah, the Niners did not look good last week, and they're dealing with a few injuries. I think Sherman, I don't think is playing. I know Kittle's dealing with knee stuff. Yeah.
Kittle, I think, is supposed to play, but Sherman's on the IR.
And Deebo Samuel's been out.
Yeah.
I think I would also take Niners -7, but it's more me thinking the Jets are terrible rather than the Niners are really good. That makes sense.
Yeah. Our next game, Rams, Eagles. Eagles -1. This is kind of a pick'em game. What'd you have here, Tim?
I'm taking the Eagles here. Again, I think people might overreact to their week 1. They were dominating that game, and then Carson Wentz absolutely fell apart in the second half. I still think the Eagles are a good football team. This is kind of like a pick'em game, and I think if Michael Gallup doesn't get flagged for a ticky-tack penalty on Jalen Ramsey, everyone's probably looking at the Rams differently. So I don't know. I think I'm taking the Eagles. I wouldn't argue hard for them, but that's where I'm landing here.
Yeah, I'm going Rams +1 here. The Rams looked like as much. It was a 3-point win, but for most of the game, it looked, at least in the first half, it looked like a fairly dominant win. I mean, they were pretty much on offense. They could do what seemed like anything, and then they ran out the clock for the most part, so they couldn't run up the score or anything like that. Only winning by 3. Honestly, probably should have lost the game towards the end, but if not for a missed field goal, maybe we look at this a little differently. I just think the Rams. I think Sean McVay. We talked about it all, or I guess not this last year, but the year previous to that. Sean McVay's an offensive mastermind, and I think he saw what the Cowboys were giving him on Sunday night, and he took it. I am expecting to do the exact same thing against the Eagles this week. But again, yeah, as Tim was saying, I'm not feeling super confident, super strong about either of the teams. So next we have Broncos, Steelers. Steelers -7.5 is the spread.
Yeah, so I don't think this game is going to be very high scoring at all. And I don't think the Broncos are a bad team. So 7.5 points feels like a lot. I think I'm taking the Broncos here +7.5. I just think it's going to be hard to cover 7.5 points in a low scoring game. Plus, I hate the Steelers, so extra gratitude if Broncos win.
I agree with the low scoring aspect of the game, but I also like the Broncos. I mean, I'm going Broncos +7.5. That if I didn't, that was obvious. But I like the Broncos a little more. I mean, 7.5 is a lot. I feel like that's, especially with no real home field advantage. I think the Broncos are better than what the Steelers or what the spread is giving them. 7.5 is a lot. I mean, the Giants got more points than the Broncos, and I think the Broncos are way better. So I think this is, again, low scoring is probably the best way to put it. A low scoring game that's just not going to really be a blowout. It's probably best. So I'm definitely writing Broncos +7.5. And I'm feeling pretty confident about that one.
Yeah, me too.
Next we have Panthers, Bucks. Bucks -8.5. With me, I'm going a teaser. With the teaser, Bucks -2.5 in the over 41.5. I think it'll be a fairly offensive game. I think the Panthers offense looked pretty good last week against the Raiders. Obviously, scoring was at 31 points. Christian McCaffrey still very good, but I also think the Bucks will win it. I know the spread's 8.5, but I that's kind of a lot of points, so I'm just bringing them down to 2.5. Win by a field goal. I feel pretty confident about that.
The Panthers, I mean, their defense is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But their offense is pretty good. Brady didn't look great in his debut with the Buccaneers, but he showed that he could still make the throws he needs to make. So it's just going to be a matter of time until he meshes with Bruce Arians and he kind of figures stuff out, which is why I think they're going to put up a lot of points. I know Chris Godwin probably won't play because he's in concussion protocol. But I still think the over is going to hit on this game. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. And if you wanted to take Bucks -8.5, I wouldn't be stopping you. I think they're going to win this game by double digits. But like you said, putting that in a teaser makes me really, really confident. And maybe that's something I'll look at too.
Next, we have the Washington football team. versus the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals minus 6.5. This is a game I'm staying away from. If I had to put it, gun in my head, I'd go Cardinals minus 6.5. But that's because I honestly just think they're a better team and they might win by a touchdown. This is a very tough game. I'm staying away from it personally.
Yeah, I am too. I think everyone loves the Cardinals right now because they beat the Niners, and I really don't think the Niners look good at all. Jimmy Garoppolo really struggled. But I still think the Cardinals are a good team. That's probably what I would pick is Cardinals minus 6.5. Maybe if you want to make a parlay, maybe put in the Cardinals money line, but the spread is a little iffy.
Yeah. Next we have Chiefs Chargers. Tim, I know you feel strongly about this one. It's Chiefs minus 8.5.
Yeah. 8.5 is a big spread, but I think the Chiefs are just going to absolutely dominate. I think they'll blow out the Chargers. We are fans of Tyrod, but I think he's not going to be scoring a lot of points with the Chargers offense. And they're not going to be able to keep up with the Chiefs at all. The Chiefs didn't even play well, and they absolutely dominated the Texans. Pat Mahomes, I don't think he had a throw over 20 yards, a completion. And they absolutely dominated them. I think they're going to kill the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are going to keep up. Chargers have a good secondary, but it's not going to be enough to slow down Mahomes.
Yeah, I also like Chiefs here. Spread's 8.5. Something I really like is with this game and the next game, I would do a teaser. Chiefs minus 2.5. Ravens minus 1 against the Texans. The actual spread is Baltimore minus 7. I think the Chiefs at least win, maybe by double digits. But in the second game, the Ravens-Texans, I think the Ravens absolutely obliterate the Texans. I don't think it's particularly close. 7 scares me. Maybe it's just a couple things go the Ravens wrong way. Yeah, they dominate the game. The scoreboard doesn't reflect it. So yeah, I would still go with Ravens minus 7. But to feel even more confident, I'm doing Ravens minus 1 teaser with Chiefs minus 2.5.
I am a huge Ravens fan, so take that how you want, but I try to be pretty unbiased. And the Ravens absolutely blew out the Texans last year. Texans now obviously don't have DeAndre Hopkins. I think the Texans are a better team than what we saw against the Chiefs. I'm not writing the Texans off, but the Ravens look pretty dominant right now, and I think they'll run away with this game, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think Ravens all day. I think
Lamar Jackson looked awesome throwing the ball.
Yeah, they killed the Browns. They killed the Browns last week, and they're already in kind of midseason form. It seems like. Patriots, Seahawks minus 3.5 as a spread right now. Cam Newton beat the Dolphins last week. 2 rushing touchdowns. Didn't throw the ball much. I think we both agree. This might be our consensus pick, our kind of almost consensus lock. Seahawks minus 3.5. If the Seahawks get up in this game, the Patriots aren't going to be able to throw the ball extremely well. So, I think we both agree. Seahawks minus 3.5.
Everyone's jumping on the Cam Newton train because he had 2 rushing touchdowns. He still hasn't proved that he can throw the ball. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon thinking Cam Newton's back and everything, but for 3 years he hasn't shown anyone that he can throw a football at an NFL level. And I think it's awesome getting the run game going, that's fun to watch and everything, but the Seahawks are a lot different than the Dolphins. If he shows up somehow and plays really well against the Seahawks, then throwing the ball, then I would maybe have to reconsider, but he still hasn't shown that to this date. And I think if week 1 is any indication for Pete Carroll the rest of the year, letting Russell Wilson cook and throw the ball, I think the Seahawks are going to be absolutely dominant because I think he's the second best quarterback in the NFL and he's in Mahomes' tier. I think Russell Wilson is absolutely phenomenal, and I think they will beat the Patriots by 3.5 at least.
Yeah, I think beating the Dolphins and Ryan Fitzpatrick week 1 is not much of a test.
Yeah.
Beating the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football week 2 is much bigger of a stage. Much bigger.
I'm not buying into the Patriots until I feel confident that Cam Newton can throw a football.
Yeah. Saints Raiders. Saints -6. This is a game I'm staying away from. This is something I really feel no confidence towards whatsoever. Even the total I don't feel confident about. So Tim, I'll let you talk about this entire game.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird game. No Michael Thomas for the Saints, it's looking like. I probably wouldn't put any money on this game, but I think the Saints should win. They're a much better football team than the Raiders. But what scares me is, as great as Drew Brees is, he's limited in terms of throwing the ball down the field, and they have to kind of keep in that underneath type offense. So the Raiders' strength of their defense, if they do have one, is their linebackers. So I think they might be able to I think the Saints might struggle on offense, which might put the Raiders in a position to have a potential upset. But we'll see. I don't feel super strong about that. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think the Raiders are going to win just to generate some buzz for this game. But I think it's something to look out for. And I'm in a pick'em league with some friends here, and I'm going to have to make a decision on those 6 points.
Yeah, again, Tim's kind of talking me in the Raiders +6 there. Still something I'm not confident about. But That being said, we will post all of our picks and our consensus lock on our Twitter. So make sure to follow Start Rebuild Pod on Twitter and Start_the_rebuild on Instagram.
If you were to say what our lock of the week would be, what would you think, Ian? Is it that Seahawks game?
I think it's a Seahawks game. I'm looking right now. Seahawks, I could definitely see Chiefs -8.5. That's kind of a big spread to take a lock on. I think my lock is Seahawks -3.5.
That's me too.
That's in Seattle too?
Correct.
So that helps the Seahawks out quite a bit. Patriots having to fly across country. So I would say, our mortal consensus do or die lock for this week is Seahawks -3.5.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Watch out for Twitter and Instagram. We'll probably put some of these out there for you guys to see. Is that it, Ian?
I think we're all set. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see ya.
Guys.